Well, take us back to August 2005 when you realized Hurricane Katrina would be a really major storm. What emergency communications and guidance did New Orleans residents receive?
The city had never called for an evacuation ever in the history of the city. And so when they started talking about this, the need to push this information out became really, really challenging. And even myself, who was a native, I mean, I've lived through many storms here. I mean, we start with the last major storm that hit here in the late 1960s, which Hurricane Betsy was up to that point was the line, but we stayed for that as well. But so part of this was there was this lack of understanding of what we were really talking about. There really wasn't a lot of this mass communication stuff. It really was more local news. And so what we were doing is you're talking with your friends and family, your neighbors, and saying, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay? Are you going to go? So there was a lot very localized. I mean, I'm not even talking about news-wise. I'm talking neighborhood by neighborhood, family by family. What are you going to do? And that's really the conversations that people had.
So when did you actually return to New Orleans, and what was it like when you arrived?
So it took me 8 weeks to get home. I got home, and I often tell people the surrealness of this. I mean, I can remember driving my mother down a street that we both known for years, right? And mud markings on trees were halfway up.
Wow.
So you're looking at mud over my head, 18 feet of mud, 12 feet of mud. So you're looking at this around, and there's nothing there. I mean, the houses are there, but obviously they're empty. Some of them are in the streets. I mean, roofs are everywhere. There's just, I'd seen where 3 cars were wrapped around light poles. You saw cars on roofs. And the thing that I remember distinctly was it was no sound, like nothing. You didn't hear a bird. You didn't hear animals. You didn't hear dogs. You didn't hear, sirens. It was dead silent.
So what was your impression of the response from government agencies and other social services to help out?
With Katrina, every system failed, right? So any plan, anything, it didn't matter. It all failed. That's not an issue of fault. I know these people. I know how hard they worked, but we were unprepared as a country, as a city, and as a state. We were unprepared for that. So our state and local systems were overwhelmed, right? There's just no way to put it. You can't respond to an event when you're in the event. Right. So you're looking at, what about emergency managers? Well, they're worried about their own family. Police, fire, EMS. They're worried about their own family. They're doing the best they can. They're in a situation that is overwhelming. So when you talk about the response in the immediate area, they did the best they could. And, I have many police friends that were here, and, the stories that they shared with us are horrific. One of my friends said to me, Bonnie, have you ever woken up one day and looked at your family and said, I don't think I'm coming home today? And I said, what did you do, buddy? He said, I kissed my wife, I kissed my daughter, and I went. And so how do you not honor that, right? You got to honor that. But when you talk about long-term recovery for us, if it wasn't for the American population, so the people of America who actually showed up in droves, faith-based organizations, nonprofits, civic groups. I mean, university groups. We would not be here if it wasn't for them. And that's why we here owe this debt of gratitude because of that and what individuals gave us.
Well, in your opinion, what were the biggest lessons learned from Hurricane Katrina when it comes to emergency preparedness or business resiliency?
Is that you have to think of the worst case scenario. And no matter what, you're never going to be prepared, right? And we'll talk about that quickly. Is the difference between preparedness and response. Like I talk about preparedness, you say you get prepared. I always look at that and saying, you get your hurricane supplies together. By the end of the day, you've eaten them, right? That's preparedness. Resilience is a state of being. So emergency managers need to understand that things are going to go wrong. The end. Business continuity, it's going to go wrong, right? But it's how you prepared for that. How resilient are you that carries you through no matter what happens? And that's a different dialogue in its entirety.
Well, reflecting on 20 years since Katrina, what gives you hope about New Orleans and the future of resilience work?
I think that what we're starting to see are events, and unfortunately, this is not a good thing, but events are happening more places and they're more catastrophic in many ways. And I think that the experience that we have is seeing this and knowing this and changing the dialogue about this. So I am optimistic that there seems to be more of a collective, but I often say that starts when people start asking the questions, right? So someone in their own organization has to start asking the questions. You need leaders in this. You need people to step up and say, wait a minute, wait, what is this? And I think that's the lesson, right? Is that if you rely on the same old, you're going to get the same old. And this younger generation, they're not doing that, but they're asking different questions, which is good. I work with them to kind of give them my experience and my thoughts and to feed that enthusiasm. It takes initiative and it takes a desire and a willingness to stick your head out, even though you know it may not be welcome in that moment.